While everyone was distracted by the SpaceX IPO, Elon Musk quietly started backing a new AI startup that's been called the fastest growing business in the history of capitalism. Now, even though this has nothing to do with robots, self-driving cars, and rockets, this startup is growing faster than Tesla, faster than SpaceX, and faster than any of Elon Musk's other various ventures. The Wall Street Journal calls it the front runner in the race for artificial intelligence supremacy. Time magazine, they called it the most disruptive company in the world and said that it holds the keys to perhaps the most powerful technology of all time. Former tech executive Jeff Brown, the man who picked Bitcoin, Tesla, and Nvidia before they exploded higher, has been following this developing story for the past few months. And as you can see in this exclusive footage here, his investigation led him to this giant facility in the middle of nowhere in South Memphis. That is where Elon Musk is housing the supercomputer technology that is powering this particular startup. So if you didn't get a chance to get into SpaceX before it went public, pay close attention because this could be your second chance. Bloomberg, in fact, has just confirmed that this startup is moving towards a blockbuster IPO. In fact, it has just filed the initial paperwork with the SEC, confirming the IPO is imminent. Which is why today, for the first time ever, he's going to reveal the name of this startup completely free of charge and show you how to claim your stake today before the masses get in on IPO day. And you know, you don't need to have connections in Silicon Valley. You don't need to be an accredited investor. You don't need to be rich. In fact, you can get started with less than $50 right from your computer. This is a once-in-a-generation opportunity because this startup is actually projected to grow 8,000% this year. Now that is enough to turn $500 into $40,000, $1,000 into $80,000, and $5,000 into $400,000. So please pay close attention because no other market event creates more overnight wealth than an exciting technology company going public. For example, early investors who got in at the pre-IPO stage had a chance to turn $1,000 into more than $1 million in Facebook when that company went public, more than $1.6 million in Uber on its IPO day, and more than $2.3 million on Google the day that that company went public. So imagine one day you're living your normal, ordinary life. 24 hours later, the company goes public and everything, and I mean everything, changes. You now have complete financial freedom to do everything you want for the rest of your life. For decades, those kinds of wealth-building opportunities were reserved for rich insiders and the Silicon Valley elite. Everyday folks on Main Street, they were locked out, left with table scraps. That changes today because angel investor and former tech executive Jeff Brown is going to show you how to claim your stake in what he believes is going to be the next major tech IPO backed by Elon Musk before it goes public. He believes this startup could go public by the end of this month. So we have absolutely no time to waste here. Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Hurt. And in this very special episode, we are chatting with Jeff Brown to get all the details on this little-known startup, which is part of what he calls Elon Musk's AI master plan. So Jeff is a former senior executive of three major public tech companies, Qualcomm, NXP Semiconductors, and Juniper Networks. Those three firms now generate more than $50 billion in annual sales. He's also an angel investor. He's invested in hundreds of deals involving private companies with returns as high as 5,344%, 7,367%, and a mind-blowing 11,011%. And because of his tech expertise, he's actually advised senior officials at the Department of Commerce, policymakers, members of the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, and the Defense Intelligence Agency. And all of that experience has given him the ability to see big tech trends before most people catch on, which explains how he was able to pick Bitcoin before it jumped as high as 52,400%, or Tesla before it jumped as high as 2,150%, and even Nvidia before it jumped as high as 36,000%. Jeff, that is an amazing resume. Thanks for being here. How are you?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
And, I have to say, I've been looking forward to this conversation because while the SpaceX IPO was stealing all of the headlines, Elon Musk has made a genius move and started backing an exciting new AI startup that I believe will be the next hot IPO on Wall Street.
Yeah, so are we talking about OpenAI here by any chance, the creator of ChatGPT? Because I know they're planning to go public soon.
It's not a bad guess, but no. I bet most people have never really heard of this company or know it well, but when Elon Musk officially filed the IPO paperwork for SpaceX, he described a deal with this startup inside that document.
Okay, so this startup then is actually related to SpaceX.
Well, it is, but most people will never read this document. I mean, it's buried in this SEC filing. 308 pages of dense legal and technical jargon that would put anyone to sleep. But today, I'm going to explain how this AI startup is part of Elon's master plan to dominate the AI industry along with SpaceX, and why I believe it will be the next monster IPO.
Yeah, and see, that's interesting because you started talking about a potential IPO for SpaceX, I think as early as 2020, and I think the last time we talked, you predicted SpaceX would be the biggest IPO ever, so you were spot on about that. And now here you are saying Elon's already working on something else in the works, a new IPO, another one.
Well, he is helping power what I believe will be the next big AI IPO on Wall Street. And Chris, this story begins in this building, the size of 13 football fields that you see on your screen. This building belongs to SpaceX, but virtually nobody knows about it because it's located kind of in the middle of nowhere in an industrial zone of South Memphis,
right.
Now, almost 1,000 miles away from SpaceX's headquarters. And here's what's interesting. Inside this building, you won't find rockets, satellites, or anything that's related to space. Instead, inside is what Elon Musk called the most powerful supercomputer of any kind in the world. And that supercomputer is powering this AI startup that I'm recommending today. And this isn't your average startup. Chris, like you mentioned earlier, I've invested in hundreds of deals involving private companies and had a lot of success. And I can tell you this is the fastest tech moonshot that I've ever seen. I mean, take a look at its sales. Just about a year ago, sales were about $2 billion. It has jumped by more than 20 times higher. It's growing faster than Tesla, faster than SpaceX, or any of Elon's other ventures.
Well, that's incredible, no doubt. But now I'm worried. Have we kind of missed the boat on this? Maybe it's too late to get in on it.
Well, not at all. I mean, in fact, the CEO is projecting 8,000% growth this year. I know it's hard to believe, but that's enough to turn $500 into $40,000, $1,000 into $80,000, and $5,000 into $400,000.
Yeah, goodness. So it's growing. That's growing faster than NVIDIA. And I know NVIDIA sales have been booming. So
much faster. NVIDIA is extraordinary, but it's growing 23 times faster than NVIDIA. No company in American history has ever grown like this. I look back in history hunting for any company in any industry, in any era, looking for anything that I saw this crazy exponential growth, double exponential growth, and I couldn't find one. Not in tech, not in oil, not even in wartime manufacturing. That's why The Atlantic called this startup that I'm recommending today the fastest growing business in the history of capitalism.
Right. Well, I don't think I've ever seen this kind of growth myself. It sounds insane.
Oh, it really is. I mean, just to give you an idea, Chris, back in the early 2000s when Google was still a private company, I mean, it was growing like crazy because of its search engine.
Right.
Its revenue went from around 400 million to 6 billion in just 3 years. I mean, that was the most explosive period of growth for Google. But here's the crazy part. This startup just covered nearly 4 times as much ground in a single quarter. And that means it grew 4 times more than Google. And instead of doing it in 3 years, it did it in 3 months.
Wow. So now what about the creator of ChatGPT, OpenAI? Is it growing faster than they are?
Chris, this startup might put OpenAI out of business. I mean, Andrej Karpathy, founding member of OpenAI, just left the company to join this startup. So think about that. The co-founder of OpenAI left to join this startup. So what does that tell you?
Well, hang on. You're telling me that one of the founders of OpenAI has jumped ship to join this startup that you're talking about today?
Yes, that's what I'm telling you. And this guy is an AI genius. He was the director of AI at Tesla, a man who worked closely with Elon Musk to develop Tesla's self-driving technology. I believe he is going to help make this startup the next big IPO on Wall Street.
Right. So just to be clear about this, you are going to reveal the name of this startup right here today for all of us, completely free of charge.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I'll show everyone how to claim a stake before the IPO, starting with as little as just $50. Now, we will need to act fast because in a hot private company like this, there's simply not enough shares available to satisfy all of the demand from investors, and that imbalance could help push the valuation of this company a lot higher even before the IPO.
Now, what do you mean by not being enough shares? What does that mean?
Well, unlike public companies, private companies have a limited number of shares, and virtually everyone wants to get into this deal. Now, according to one estimate, there could be as much as $1 trillion in capital chasing $30 billion in available shares. So what does that mean? Well, it means all that crazy demand for shares could send its valuation skyrocketing. And as one venture capitalist said, this startup has all the clumped up, pent up demand, and it's like a pressure cooker ready to explode. I mean, that kind of pressure doesn't just move the stock. It can create overnight millionaires.
Yeah. You mentioned a minute ago, we saw a lot of hype around the SpaceX IPO. Are you anticipating the very same type of thing for this company too?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, now that the SpaceX IPO is behind us, I mean, the excitement, this startup has become the hottest thing among big tech, Wall Street, and Silicon Valley. Now, Chris, you've heard of Peter Thiel, right? We've spoken to him before.
Right. He's a billionaire. He started PayPal with Elon.
That's exactly right. And he's also the co-founder of Palantir, which is one of the most important AI companies in the world. And as a venture capitalist, he was one of the first investors in both Facebook and SpaceX. So this guy clearly knows how to spot moonshot opportunities. And guess what? He just invested $1.25 billion in this startup.
Over $1 billion in one single company. Wow.
Or look at Sequoia Capital, one of the largest and most successful VCs in the world. That's the firm that invested in big winners like NVIDIA, Google, Apple, PayPal, and OpenAI. Sequoia also put $1 billion into the startup. And Chris, it's not just the Silicon Valley elite that's going all in. Big tech firms also believe this could be the next AI giant. Now, Google already put $10 billion in it, and it's planning to invest another $30 billion. Amazon invested $5 billion, and it's planning to invest $20 billion more. Microsoft is investing $5 billion, and NVIDIA is investing $10 billion. The CEO of NVIDIA even said, we're scaling very quickly. We got big plans for this startup.
So this is getting big. You just mentioned billionaires. We got the kings of Silicon Valley. Big tech are all going in. Elon Musk is backing the company. This is a mad rush.
It really is. I've never seen anything like it. Fortune even described it as a feeding frenzy to snag shares while the company remains private. And I can't really blame them for going all in. Now that Elon Musk is getting involved with this startup, I believe its exponential growth will continue, giving its investors a chance to make generational wealth.
And you just nailed, that's the exciting part of all this. These kinds of explosive IPO opportunities are normally off limits to everyday ordinary people out there. They are, at least they seem to be reserved for the kinds of investors you just mentioned. So rich people on Wall Street, rich people in Silicon Valley. And to be very clear, again, today you're going to show us how to claim a stake in this startup, and we don't need to be rich or accredited or connected investors.
Nope. Everyone can get in. Now, I'll show everyone how they can get started with as little as just $50. And that's a big deal because nothing creates more overnight wealth than an exciting tech company going public. For example, those who were lucky enough to get into Facebook while it was still private, they watched their wealth skyrocket by more than 105,000% on IPO day. Now, Chris, that's enough to turn a tiny $1,000 investment into more than $1 million in the first 24 hours of trading.
It's ridiculous. Like we mentioned earlier, you're compressing decades of wealth building into a 24-hour window. One day you're living your ordinary life, and the next day you're a millionaire.
Exactly. Now, I can't promise that everyone who acts today will become a millionaire. But Chris, the startup that I'm recommending is growing faster than Facebook was growing leading up to that IPO. And like I mentioned before, it's also growing faster than Google. And look at what happened when Google went public. On the very first day of trading, the Wall Street elite who got into Google when it was private watch their wealth explode almost 230,000% higher, which is enough to turn a mere $1,000 into more than $2.3 million, all in the first 24 hours of trading. Or let's look at Airbnb, a company everybody knows. Investors with connections who were lucky enough to get in watched their wealth explode almost 500,000%, enough to turn $1,000 into $5 million on the day of the IPO.
Oh my goodness.
Now, imagine, Chris, you're just a regular guy and you think Airbnb is an interesting idea. So you put $1,000 into it just to see what it can do, and you kind of forget about it. Within 24 hours of it going public, you're a multimillionaire and your life is never the same again. Now, we've seen that happening with Uber when it went public, with Twitter, with Zoom, just to mention a few examples. Now, of course, none of these opportunities were available to everyday folks, and that's what makes this opportunity today so special. I believe this startup that's now backed by Elon Musk will be the next big IPO on Wall Street. And today, anyone can claim a stake before the company goes public, starting with less than $50. But like I said before, we'll just need to act fast here.
Right. So you're convinced this IPO is happening very soon?
Well, this company already hired outside counsel to begin working on the process of going public. And Bloomberg just confirmed that this startup is moving towards, and I quote, a blockbuster IPO.
And here's a piece of breaking news. The Wall Street Journal just reported the company has filed the initial paperwork with the SEC, confirming the IPO is imminent. I believe it could happen by the end of this month.
And that's why I'm urging everyone to claim their stake today. Now that the SpaceX IPO is behind us, and it was ridiculously successful, all eyes will be on this AI startup. It's one of the most anticipated IPOs of all time. The Financial Times is already predicting it will, I quote, ignite a Wall Street trading frenzy, and quoted a portfolio manager at a large U.S. hedge fund saying, we're going all in. How about that, Chris? I mean, think about this logically. Institutional investors with deep pockets are salivating to get into this company when it hits the market. So what do you think is going to happen on that very first day of trading?
Well, it sounds like everybody's going to be buying shares like crazy.
We could see one of the biggest buying sprees on the first day of trading ever. There will be so much buying pressure that I wouldn't be surprised if shares double, triple, or more on the first day of trading. I mean, that's why I'm pounding the table that we need to gain exposure now before the IPO. So remember, the CEO is projecting 8,000% growth this year. Now that turns $500 into $40,000, $1,000 into $80,000, and $5,000 into $400,000, which, would be an entire nest egg for most folks.
It would.
So this is truly an extraordinary opportunity that we'll likely never see again.
I'll tell you what, I'm sitting here listening to what you had to say. I know we've still got a lot to cover here, but I'm almost ready to buy right now. What is the name of the company, this startup? How do we get in?
Well, I'm going to have to ask you to hold your horses, Chris, just a moment, because before I give you the name and show you how to get started, I need to give you some context first. So like I briefly mentioned earlier, this startup is now part of Elon Musk's AI master plan,
right?
A plan to use SpaceX's rockets and satellites to win the AI race. And it's all described in this official document form, an S1. Now, you see, before companies go public in the U.S., they must file this document with the SEC. It's basically a big folder of paperwork submitted to the government, and that tells investors how the company is planning to grow after the IPO. And as you can see here, Chris, SpaceX's filing says in plain English that SpaceX is poised to capture the largest total addressable market in human history, a staggering $28.5 trillion opportunity. So what exactly are they talking about? Well, most people think of SpaceX as a space exploration company, just like the name, space exploration.
Right.
Or as the company that owns the broadband satellite internet service called Starlink. But as you can see here, Chris, those are only a tiny, tiny piece of the pie SpaceX is targeting. The big opportunity is something they call orbital AI compute. And this startup is now getting involved in it.
So orbital AI, I've read your research about that. You've been predicting that for a long time. I think it was 6 months or so before the SpaceX IPO. you actually released a video that went viral. We'll put it up so everybody can see here, a short clip of it. So folks, check this out.
Well, this isn't about rockets going to Mars or about Elon's internet satellite business. Instead, it's the biggest AI story of the year.
So there you go. You told your readers SpaceX isn't a rocket company. It's an artificial intelligence company. And you said that they would revolutionize the industry by running AI from space.
That's right, Chris. That's Elon Musk's AI master plan. All the big tech companies are locked in a race to develop the next generation of AI. Whoever wins that race will unlock trillions of wealth and become the master of the universe. I mean, it is the highest stake race in human history, which is why companies are spending hundreds of billions of dollars in AI infrastructure. So the question is, how do you win that race?
Right.
Well, you win the race by having the most computational resources at the lowest cost. And that's why a few years ago, Elon began building this huge data center in South Memphis. That's where he houses Colossus, which is the world's most powerful supercomputer. And Elon is still expanding that project. And when all is said and done, Colossus will have 33 times more computational power than ChatGPT. I mean, that is already huge. But Chris, these data centers have a big problem.
What problem, then?
Well, they consume crazy amounts of electricity every day.
Oh, yeah.
A single data center consumes the equivalent of 100,000 households worth of electricity. And big tech is building thousands of those data centers. Our power grid simply can't handle the demand from the AI.
I have seen that in the news. I saw an article just the other day saying that demand, it's driving the electric bills, the power bills higher for so many millions of people out there.
That's right. Bloomberg's recently reported that in some areas near data centers, the power bills have jumped almost 300% in the last 5 years. Now, that is a serious issue. That's why Goldman Sachs called electricity AI's biggest bottleneck.
Yeah, bottleneck. So it's not processing power or chips, it's electricity. There's not enough.
That's absolutely right. We do not have enough. And the demand for power will only increase as AI keeps getting more and more powerful. I mean, Chris, as you can see here, computational power is doubling every 7 months.
Wow, so it's really growing exponentially then.
I mean, just think how crazy that is. Just 7 months from now, AI will be twice as powerful as it is today, and it's going to require a whole lot more electricity.
Yeah.
And that's where orbital AI comes in.
So I have read about this, but just so that we're all on the same page, how exactly does orbital AI work? I mean, how do you run it from space?
Well, I mean, thanks to the Starlink service, Elon Musk already has more than 10,000 satellites in orbit today. He's been beaming internet service from space with these satellites all over the world. So Elon had this genius idea. Why not pack satellites with the most powerful AI chips and then send them into orbit where they can be powered by the sun 24/7. There are no clouds in space. So the satellites will have constant exposure to solar energy in a sun-synchronous orbit. I mean, Chris, that is 100% free, 100% clean energy, 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So unlike physical data centers on Earth, there are also no land restrictions. There is no need for environmental permits. That's why Elon Musk said the lowest cost way to do AI compute will be with solar-powered AI satellites. And Elon has already begun to execute on that plan. I mean, as you can see here, the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, has just accepted SpaceX's filing, seeking approval to launch up to 1 million satellites into orbit to power AI. So things are moving really fast right now.
Oh, yeah. So Elon's plan is to have hundreds of thousands of supercomputers floating in orbit out there, powering the most exciting AI applications right here on Earth.
Exactly right. I mean, Chris, I'm talking about scale and power without any limitations. And this startup that I'm recommending today has just closed a game-changing deal with Elon Musk. In fact, SpaceX recently confirmed that this startup has, and I quote, expressed interest in helping Elon develop orbital AI compute capacity. Now, remember, this startup is already the fastest growing company in history, and I believe this partnership with Elon Musk will act as rocket fuel. I mean, no wonder the CEO is projecting growth of 8,000% this year, setting the stage for what I believe will be the next big IPO on Wall Street.
And I'm starting to understand how this startup will fit into Elon's plan. And Jeff, I know that in just a moment you're going to reveal the name of the startup. It's going to be completely free of charge and everything. You're going to show us how we can get started with less than $50 right from our very own computer, which is very exciting because if the CEO of the startup is right, I mean, everybody's going to have a chance to get positioned for this 8,000% growth. But first, I want to go back for a second here, because for a lot of people who are probably watching, this idea of running AI from space, it still sounds a little like science fiction. You know, I mean, it doesn't it sound a little crazy to you?
Well, for the average person, it might sound crazy, but I have to say, everything that Elon Musk has done throughout his career did sound insane at first. I mean, Chris, do you remember what was Elon's first big business?
His PayPal, I think. He was one of the co-founders.
That's right. Absolutely. So in the late 1990s, when, most people were still mailing checks, he had this crazy idea of making payments over the internet. Now, that was unimaginable to most folks. But those who thought digital payments were a crazy idea, they missed out on huge gains from PayPal. So, for example, venture capitalist Peter Thiel used special stock deals to turn $1,664 into $3.8 million.
Right. So doubting Elon Musk, huge mistake.
It was a huge mistake. Or look at SpaceX. I mean, Chris, imagine I'm Elon Musk and I told you just a few years ago, hey, we're going to launch a 6,700-ton rocket the size of a 20-story building into orbit, and we're going to bring it back to Earth. And then when that massive rocket re-enters the orbit, it will be dropping at a speed of more than 17,000 miles per hour. But that's not going to be a problem at all because we're just going to catch it with a giant mechanical chopstick in midair. Sound to you?
It sounds like a lunatic, but I see your point. That's exactly what Elon has been able to do with SpaceX. We've all seen those amazing videos on social media.
Exactly right. I mean, those who believed in Elon and got into SpaceX when it was just a startup back in 2002, they had a chance to pocket a gain of more than 6 million% when it went public. Now, Chris, that's enough to turn a single $100 bill into more than $6 million.
So anyone who doubted Elon obviously missed that shot at generational wealth.
And it was the same story with Tesla. Back in 2004, the idea that AI would be able to drive an electric car with little help from the driver sounded insane. But those who dismissed self-driving cars as just science fiction, they missed out on a chance to turn $1,000 into more than $430,000 in shares of Tesla. So my point is, if there's one thing everyone should have learned by now, it's this. Doubting Elon Musk is a losing proposition. As billionaire and venture capitalist Peter Thiel famously said, never bet against Elon Musk.
Right. So you believe this orbital AI plan is going to be wildly successful?
I do. Absolutely. And that's great news for this startup that is now working with Elon. That's especially true now that SpaceX went public. Elon has raised billions from the IPO, as we have learned, and he's going to use that money to accelerate his master plan.
Yeah. How exactly is he going to use that money?
Well, he's going to use some of that money to ramp up SpaceX's AI satellite production and accelerate the production of his new Starship rocket. Now, Chris, have you heard of the SpaceX Gigabay?
Gigabay, no. What is that?
Well, that's the manufacturing facility to make Starships, and it will be ready for full production before the end of this year with the designed capacity to produce 1,000 Starships a year.
1,000 new rockets in a year.
Yes, and not just any rocket. At 400 feet tall, the Starship is the biggest and most powerful rocket ever developed. SpaceX has already conducted several successful test flights to space as part of my boots on the ground research. Chris, I actually went to the SpaceX headquarters recently when they were preparing for the latest Starship test flight. Now, you're seeing footage on the screen. I was blown away by the size of this rocket, and just like SpaceX Falcon 9 and Falcon 9 Heavy, the Starship will also be fully and rapidly reusable. Now, meaning it will fly to space, it'll come back, it'll get refueled, and fly again in a matter of hours. That's the vision, just like an airplane. And it's going to be a game changer because it will dramatically reduce the cost of launching satellites into orbit. I mean, just listen to what Elon Musk said recently. With Starship, which is the largest flying machine ever made, the cost of access to space will drop by a factor of 100. So it makes putting large satellites into space very cheap.
Wow. So if it costs $1,000 a kilogram to send stuff into orbit, the cost is going to drop to $10?
Exactly. Now, do you know what that means, Chris? It means that nobody will be able to run AI cheaper than Elon Musk. And that means SpaceX will dominate orbital AI.
Okay.
That is his master plan. That's how he'll win the AI race. And this startup that I'm recommending today is going along for the ride. I believe that's exactly why this startup made a deal with Elon Musk. They understand that Elon will be able to generate the most computational power at the lowest cost.
So how exactly has this startup partnered with Elon? I mean, what's it called? I mean, is this company also a space exploration company too?
No, this startup is a pure AI play. It developed the most disruptive AI model that we've ever seen. I mean, you see, while early AI models like ChatGPT focused on chat, this startup created a model called Claude that acts as autonomous workers. So it doesn't just answer questions. It can complete the most complex tasks on its own without any help. So this model is quickly taking over tasks that used to be carried out by lawyers, by analysts, engineers, consultants. So while most customers of ChatGPT are individuals, this startup is focusing on enterprise businesses with deep pockets. And that's why sales are growing so quickly. The more than 500 enterprise customers are currently paying over $1 million annually to this startup just to gain access to this model. And I expect that number to grow significantly now that it has made a deal with Elon Musk.
Right. So this startup is essentially helping companies out there across lots of industries automate their workflow with AI.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
For example, if you run a law firm, you can just ask Claude to review a 100-page complex legal contract, and it will flag risky clauses and draft revisions. And it will do it in a matter of minutes, actually seconds, often better than the most experienced lawyers could do. The big pharmaceutical company, Novo Nordisk, is using this model to prepare 300-page clinical study reports. I mean, it used to take up to 12 weeks to prepare these complex documents. With Claude, that same work now takes about 10 minutes. I mean, this model can even rewrite software code, and that's the real game changer. So I know software sounds boring, but most people think that's just something for geeks and computer nerds. But the reality is, this world, the world we live in, it runs on software. And without it, you wouldn't be able to order anything from Amazon. I mean, its recommendation engines, logistics systems, cloud computing are pure software code. Without software, you wouldn't be able to search for anything in Google, hail a car with Uber or Lyft in minutes, or stream your favorite show on Netflix. In fact, every single application on our phones depend on software.
I guess we kind of take it for granted because it just runs in the background.
Exactly right. Now, just look at some of the biggest, most valuable companies on the earth right now. Just to name a few: Amazon, Google, Apple, Microsoft. I mean, they are essentially software companies. So the fact that this startup's AI model can write code better than humans, it changes everything. So for example, Chris, if you wanted to build a new mobile app and launch a new business, what's the first thing you need to do?
I'd probably hire an engineer, somebody with a lot of computer science experience. I know that.
A software engineer, exactly. Now, before you had to hire expensive engineers with years of specialized training, that barrier stopped millions of entrepreneurs in their tracks.
Right.
With this AI model, even if you have zero coding experience, you can now build full apps, internal software tools, games, websites, and automations just by describing what you want. So this AI model will help open the floodgates for a new wave of innovation and businesses. The only limit is your imagination, not your technical skills, not your budget. That's why Time magazine called this startup the most disruptive company in the world and said that it holds the keys to perhaps the most powerful technology of all time.
Well, thanks to you, I can now see why sales of the startup are booming right now.
It's booming faster than anything I've ever seen. Take a look at this, Chris. It took other major software companies about 20 years to reach 10 billion in sales. This startup did it in less than 4. As the CFO of this company said, we are seeing exponential growth in demand across our entire customer base. I mean, demand for this startup's AI model is so intense that the company was running out of computational resources. And that's where Elon Musk comes in. The SpaceX IPO filing described Elon's deal with this startup in plain English. It says, we entered into cloud services agreements with Anthropic with respect to access to compute capacity across Colossus and Colossus 2.
I think I heard it. Did you hear it? Anthropic? That's the name of the startup.
Correct.
Okay.
And remember, Colossus is Elon Musk's AI supercomputer. So Elon is providing them with the computer power that they need to keep growing. Now, I know I've said this before, but it bears repeating. This is the fastest tech moonshot I've ever seen. It's growing faster than Tesla, SpaceX, or any of Elon's ventures, and the CEO is projecting 8,000% growth this year. That's enough to turn $500 into $40,000, $1,000 into $80,000, and $5,000 into $400,000. This exponential growth is setting the stage of the next big IPO on Wall Street.
Anthropic. So now that we got the full story there, I'm beginning to see why you are so excited about this IPO.
But remember, Chris, now that the SpaceX IPO is behind us, everyone will now be targeting this company.
Right.
Millions of retail investors are salivating after the SpaceX IPO. They're just waiting for that moment when they can just log into their regular brokerage account and buy shares of Anthropic. This could be the biggest buying spree in history. It will be complete madness. I am sure of that, which is why I'm urging everyone to get in now. Get in ahead of the masses. This is a very rare opportunity to get a stake in a tech IPO. Like we discussed earlier, early investors had a chance to turn a tiny stake of $1,000 into millions on Facebook, on Google, Airbnb.
Yeah, you made it clear. Nothing creates more wealth in a 24-hour period than an exciting tech company that's going public. And after everything you've talked to us about here, I think it's pretty clear to everybody that Anthropic is most likely at least going to be that very next big IPO.
Well, just imagine, Chris, when Anthropic finally goes public and it's making headlines everywhere on CNBC, the Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, Financial Times. I mean, imagine reading about how shares doubled, tripled, or more on the day of the IPO, and imagine telling your friends and family that you were already positioned before it happened.
That would be an incredible feeling.
It's only going to be possible if you act now. So remember, Anthropic already hired outside counsel to begin working on the process of going public, and Bloomberg just confirmed that it's moving towards a blockbuster IPO.
The Wall Street Journal just confirmed the IPO is imminent. I believe it could go public by the end of this month.
And that's why it's important to get in now. And it's why I just put all the details of this opportunity inside a special report called The Next Trillion Dollar IPO, How to Claim Your Stake in Anthropic. And inside, I'll tell you about a little-known, publicly traded company that already owns billions worth of shares in Anthropic. And because of that, it has direct exposure to its growth and all the hype I'm expecting around IPO day. And you can buy shares for less than $50 from any brokerage account. You'll find the name, ticker symbols, and my full analysis inside this report.
And that is fantastic news. Folks, this report is ready to go, and Jeff actually wants to give you this report completely free of charge. All he asks in return is that you try his monthly research service called the Near Future Report for the next 30 days at no risk to you. So the Near Future Report is where Jeff publishes his best investment ideas every month. And it's called the Near Future because the future is coming much, much faster than we think. Technology is moving so fast, it's really hard for everyday folks like us to keep up. I'm sure you've noticed it. By the time we hear about it from the mainstream media, it's already too late. Shares have popped and the big money has been made. So in the pages of the Near Future Report, Jeff focuses on identifying and profiting from big trends that are on the verge of mass adoption before they become breaking news on mainstream media, just like he did with Tesla, Bitcoin, and Nvidia. And aside from showing you early stage trends and giving you a chance to get ahead of everybody else, in the pages of the Near Future Report, Jeff will also help you navigate the ups and downs of the stock market. For example, on March 17th of 2020, amidst peak pandemic hysteria, Jeff sent an urgent video to his readers and made a very bold call. We actually have a clip of that. Let me play it for you right here.
Things are absolutely going to get better. Probably the best opportunity to make investments over the course of the next decade.
3 days later, the stock market began a historic bounce back. Since then, the S&P 500 has jumped more than 200%. Some of the picks from Jeff's model portfolio jumped much higher. If you had held on past their original recommendations and sold at their peak, you could have made as much as 945% in Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing, 962% in Palo Alto Networks, 1,700% in Arista Networks, and 4,100% in Nvidia, just to mention a few. These were all market-beating gains. Remember, you can try the Near Future Report for the next 30 days with no risk to you, and when you do, Jeff will immediately send you that special report, the next trillion-dollar IPO, how to claim your stake in Anthropic. Now, normally, a one-year membership to the Near Future Report costs $499, but because time is of essence here, Jeff is going to give you a huge discount. We do not want the price to be an issue. The most important thing is that you get into this play right now before this startup files for the IPO paperwork with the SEC. But before I give you the details on the discount, there is one more special report that Jeff put together for you. Jeff, why don't you tell them about it?
Well, that's right. This second bonus report has details on a little-known Elon Musk supplier that I believe could go parabolic in the coming months and years. You see, Elon Musk just filed this patent that you see on your screen to protect his new invention. It's something that I call manifested AGI. Now, Chris, you've heard of AGI, right?
Yeah, artificial general intelligence. If I'm not mistaken, I think I learned that from you. It's a type of AI that is able to think and reason just like humans.
Yes, it's like a synthetic mind that can learn and solve complex problems. It's an AI that doesn't just answer questions. It thinks, it reasons like we do, remembers your conversations from weeks ago, and solves problems like a team of expert consultants working together. It can come up with novel ideas independently. So imagine AGI that's not only digital, but in a humanoid form. That is manifested AGI. And it's a new category where artificial intelligence escapes the digital realm and manifests itself in the physical world through robotics and autonomous systems.
All right, so we're talking about physical AI in the form of humanoid robots.
Well, I have to say, not just any humanoid robot. So far, I'm sure all the robots that you may have seen are very clunky and buggy.
They are kind of stiff and awkward. They don't look natural. You're right.
That's right. And that's a big reason why a lot of folks still think robots are many years away or a decade away. But the third generation of Elon's robot, Optimus, will be nothing like those awkward robots. You see, scientists have been working on humanoid robots since the 1930s, and nobody has been able to figure out how to make these robots move like us. And the biggest problem by far has been in the hands. The human hand is incredibly complex, and until very recently, nobody has been able to design a robotic hand that can mimic the flexibility, the precision, the motor control, the manipulation capabilities of our hands. Elon and his teams finally did it, and that's why Tesla just filed this patent to protect its innovation. They packed 25 motors into the Optimus forearm, and those motors power flexible composite ligaments that mimic our tendons. So the hand can delicately crack an egg, thread a needle, or swing a sledgehammer with insane grip strength. Now, Chris, take a look at this image that Tesla posted on social media. I have to ask, does that look like a robot hand to you?
No, it does not. That's pretty impressive. I mean, that's indistinguishable from a human hand right there.
Looks like a human hand wearing gloves. Yeah. Exactly. And that was the only missing piece. Optimus's vision and ability to navigate the world is already far better than any other robot. Why? Well, because Elon is using the same technology that he developed for his self-driving cars. and an AI that has been training for over 10 years. So he's far ahead from any of the competitors when it comes to vision and navigation of the real world. Tesla cars already have real-time vision capable of recognizing object accurately, I might add, and an AI algorithm knows how to navigate the world without any human assistance.
But again, you're saying these robots will rely on the same system?
They will. They do. I mean, that's why Elon said, and I quote, "Everything that we've developed for our cars, the batteries, power electronics, advanced motors, gearboxes, the software, the AI inference computer, it all actually applies to a humanoid robot." And remember, Chris, aside from autonomous navigation of the real world, these robots will also run on AGI. So they basically have a super smart brain that will give them general purpose capabilities. The only missing piece of that puzzle was those complex hands.
Yeah. Well, Elon Musk just solved that problem.
He just solved the puzzle. That's what most people are missing. They still don't understand how this is going to change everything. A robot that moves like a human doesn't just look better on stage. It actually becomes incredibly useful. It can work beside us. It can be trusted in homes, in factories, in hospitals.
So it's a robot that would basically be able to operate entirely without human oversight.
Correct.
Right. So it's essentially a synthetic human, but smarter than us. That's the stuff we've watched so many times in sci-fi movies.
That's exactly right. But I have to say, it is not science fiction anymore.
Right.
I mean, Tesla recently announced it was stopping all production of cars in its Fremont, California facility. So instead, this facility is now 100% focused on Optimus production. And they're initially targeting 1 million units per year for the Optimus robot. And that is just the beginning. By next year, Elon is projecting that he will be producing 10 million units annually, Chris.
By next year. So this is going to happen very fast.
Yes, it is happening extremely fast. And because of that, it will catch most people completely off guard, completely by surprise. Chris, we're talking about a brand new industry, one that doesn't exist today. There are only about 13,000 humanoid robots around the world right now. Imagine investing in the car industry when there were only 13,000 cars on the road. I mean, that is literally the opportunity in front of us. That's why Elon Musk is predicting this will be the biggest product of any kind in history. And he's predicting growth of more than 7 million% for this new industry.
So hang on, I'm thinking about what you just said about 13,000 cars getting in on that. That's amazing, but it makes sense now because you just said 7 million% growth.
Well, that is Elon's projection. I mean, that's enough to turn a single $100 bill into more than $7 million. And look, I know this sounds crazy, but even if Elon is only 10% right, that would still be enough to grow $100 into more than $700,000. Now, that's how massive this opportunity is.
It is really mind-blowing, but I'm wondering now, should we buy shares of Tesla?
Well, Tesla was cheap when I first recommended it in 2018. I'm sure you remember that, Chris, before it jumped more than 2,000% higher. But, I have to say, it's not cheap anymore. So I'm not here to recommend Tesla. I'm here because I found a little-known Tesla supplier that I believe will play a key role in the Optimus rollout, and it has a lot more upside potential than Tesla does.
Right. And so this company is already working with Elon on this project.
It's already supplying Tesla with a key piece of technology. And remember, Elon has confirmed his humanoid robot will be using the same technology that was used in his cars. And that's why I believe it will also be used in the Optimus robots.
All right, so let me ask you, how exactly is this company's technology so critical for the humanoid robots?
Well, the robot's arms, the legs, the hands, the fingers,
right,
all need motors to move. And these motors need electricity to work. But if you just send raw electricity to them, a lot of energy gets wasted as heat.
Okay.
And the batteries drain very quickly and the robot gets too hot. So this company makes a technology that controls and delivers power to the robot's motors in a much more efficient cleaner way than normal chips do. So in short, this technology helps Optimus move efficiently, stay cool, and run for longer durations without needing to stop and recharge. And that is incredibly important for a humanoid robot that needs to walk, work, and move around like any human does for many hours.
So it sounds like this company's technology, or I should say without this company's technology, the robot wouldn't be as practically useful.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay.
And it's a big reason why I'm expecting shares to skyrocket in the coming months and years. Now, as Elon begins to ramp up production of Optimus in the millions of units per year. In fact, Morgan Stanley just recommended this stock as one of the key ways to play this robotics trend. And I have to say, they're not alone. While most people are in the dark, a total of 39 hedge funds are investing in this little known stock.
Wow, 39 hedge. This is a total frenzy here. So folks, I think you want to make sure you don't miss this opportunity. And again, Jeff has put all the details inside of this other special report. It's called the Elon Musk Moonshot, the #1 stock for the manifested AGI revolution. And inside that, you're going to find the name, the ticker symbol, and Jeff's full analysis. When you join the Near Future Report today, you're going to get instant access to that report, again, completely free of charge.
And that's not all, Chris. I also want to give everyone here access to another report called How to Profit from Elon Musk's New Terafab project. You see, Elon Musk is planning to use $55 billion from the money that he raised from the SpaceX IPO to fund the construction of Terafab, which is set to be the world's largest and most advanced semiconductor making operation.
Right. So Elon's going to be making his own chips?
Yes, and this project is so massive that some people are saying Elon has lost his mind. It sounds familiar. How many times have we heard that before? I mean, he's planning to produce up to 200 billion chips a year. To put that into perspective, that's almost 10 times more than what Taiwan Semiconductor makes, TSMC, and Taiwan Semiconductor is the largest chip manufacturing company in the world.
But you're saying Elon's factory is going to be 10 times bigger than that?
Yes, that's the plan.
I would also expect if he's making the chips himself, he's probably going to bring down costs too.
Yes, exactly. That's the point. Instead of buying expensive semiconductors from NVIDIA or having custom chips manufactured by TSMC or Samsung Electronics, Elon will just make the chips at a much lower cost and a dramatically higher volume. And remember what I said earlier about how you win the AI race?
You said whoever has the most compute power at the lowest cost is going to win. And that's starting to make sense to me. Terafab is a part of that master plan. It fits in.
Oh my gosh, yes, it really is. Because that's where Tesla will make its 5th generation AI chip, which is called AI5. Now that's the chip that will power Elon's robotaxi network, his cybercabs, and his humanoid general purpose robot, Optimus. And it's set to be 40 times more powerful than anything Elon Musk is using right now. Chris, not 40% more powerful, 4,000% more powerful. And in order to scale the robotaxi network, cybercab network, and Optimus, Elon is going to need an extraordinary amount of semiconductors. And that's why he's going to manufacture the chips himself. He wouldn't be able to secure all the chips that he needs from third parties. Now, as you can imagine, Chris, in order to make these tiny high-performance AI chips, you need extremely sophisticated machines and tools. And I found a little-known company that I believe will provide Elon with those machines.
All right, so to be clear, this company is not supplying the chips or the motors or the internal parts that go inside the robot. Instead, they supply the tools and machines that he's going to need in order to manufacture his AI chips. Am I right there?
Correct. In what will become the largest semiconductor manufacturing facility in the world. I mean, this company has already been approached by Tesla to supply semiconductor manufacturing equipment for the new Terafab project.
All right. So again, they're already talking with Elon about the potential deal here.
They are. And I recommend everyone get in now before they announce it to the entire world. I mean, this company has so much upside potential that at least 26 brokerage firms on Wall Street recently raised their price target.
God, it sounds like another no-brainer. Folks, Jeff put all the details on this, including the name and ticker symbol, into this other additional report. And that one is called How to Profit from Elon Musk's new terafab project. That is also yours the moment that you take this risk-free membership to the near future report. So here's the deal. And I mentioned this earlier, the normal price for a one-year membership, $499, that's the price tag. But today you're going to get a huge discount. You can begin your risk-free test drive for just $179. And remember, Jeff is not even asking for any type of long-term commitment here. You can try it out and decide later if it's right for you. It's going to give you 30 days to test out the service at no risk at all. And if during that period you find that you're not happy with the best tech investing research you've ever seen for any reason at all, you can simply call his member services team and cancel your membership. We'll give you a full refund of the order, no questions asked. And we'll let you keep everything that you received as a member at no charge. That's right. You can keep all the issues that you download, keep all those special reports that you see on your screen right now. The next $1 trillion IPO, how to claim your stake in Anthropic, the Elon Musk moonshot, the #1 stock for the manifested AGI revolution, how to profit from Elon Musk's new terafab project. You can keep it all, which means there is no risk to you at all for this offer. To get started, simply click on the button below and you'll be taken to another page where you can review everything one last time. And look, if you're still not sure that the near future report is right for you, let me share a few emails that Jeff has gotten from his readers. Maybe that'll help you decide. Tim has said, Jeff, I've been investing and working in the technology industry since 1985. Your insight and experience is easily the best I have ever read. I'm in my first year with you and have made good money with your recommendations. Thank you. Ruan wrote in and said, I have been a loyal subscriber for some time now and greatly admire and appreciate the work you do to bring us readers such quality recommendations. Your newsletters are well worth their weight in gold. And Leonard said, just wanted you all to know that this is the most trustworthy news and picks I have ever came across, hands down. My portfolio is nothing now but Jeff's picks, and I'm very pleased with how they're performing. Best newsletter published, period. Keep up the great work. You could be the next success story, so please click on that button to get started. Just keep in mind that all investments, of course, do carry risk. Past performance does not guarantee future success. Just don't invest more than you're willing to lose. Jeff, we're kind of wrapping things up here. You've been very generous with your time. We appreciate it. Any final thoughts you want to share?
Yes, Chris, thank you. And I just want to once again express how special this opportunity is. The lucky investors who were able to get into a tech IPO early, well, they just simply hit the jackpot over and over and over again. And honestly, I never thought everyday folks would have that kind of opportunity. Normally, that's reserved for rich institutional investors, high net worths, and the Wall Street elite with connections in Silicon Valley. But yet, here we are today. I found a way for you to get exposure to the Anthropic IPO before it goes public, before it becomes the hottest IPO on Wall Street, and you can get in today for less than $50. So remember, past tech IPOs produced incredible wealth in the first 24 hours of trading. $1,000 would have grown into an entire 7-figure nest egg on Facebook, Google, Airbnb, all in the first 24 hours of trading. So this is an explosive opportunity we'll likely never see again. For the first time in history, hundreds of millions of investors around the globe will finally get a shot at owning shares of the fastest growing startup in history. Literally, a company the Wall Street Journal called the front runner in the race for AI supremacy. When Anthropic hits the public markets, it won't be a normal IPO. It will be an absolute stampede. The moment trading opens, I believe we'll witness one of the largest first-day buying sprees that has ever been recorded. Shares could double, triple, or even more just on that first day. And that's exactly why I am pounding the table right now. If you want a chance to make the biggest possible gains, you must get ahead of the crowd before millions of investors rush in and drive shares to the moon on that very first day of trading. And remember, now that this startup has partnered with Elon Musk, its exponential growth is set to continue. The CEO is projecting 8,000% growth this year alone. That's enough to turn $500 into $40,000, $1,000 into $80,000, and $5,000 into $400,000. But if you want a chance to participate in all of that exponential growth. You must get in now.
The Wall Street Journal just confirmed the IPO is imminent. I believe it could go public by the end of this month.
So I highly recommend you claim your stake before that happens. This is so time sensitive, because if you wait until it's on the front pages of the Wall Street Journal, the valuation of the company could be a lot higher, and you'll have missed out on the chance to make the biggest possible gains.
Folks, go ahead. Click on that button and get started before it is too late. Now, obviously, Anthropic can only go public one time, which means today could be our last chance to get exposure to this startup that's backed by Elon Musk's supercomputer. And when you join Jeff today, you will get access to everything that you see on your screen right now. 12 months of Jeff's best investment ideas. Every month you get a brand new issue of the Near Future Report with Jeff's top ways of playing AI, robotics, self-driving cars, quantum computing, and all of the most exciting tech trends of our time. Bonus number 1, the next $1 trillion IPO, how to claim your stake in Anthropic. And in this report, he's going to tell you the name and ticker symbol of the stock that already owns billions worth of private shares of Anthropic. You can get started with less than $50. Bonus number 2 is called the Elon Musk Moonshot, the number 1 stock for the manifested AGI revolution. Elon's predicting growth of 7 million% for this new robotics industry. And even if he's only 10% right on that, it would be enough to turn $100 into $700,000. Find out this supplier's name, ticker symbol, and all the details inside this report. You're also going to get bonus number 3, how to profit from Elon Musk's new Terafab project. And inside that report, Jeff will tell you about the company that's already been approached by Tesla to supply semiconductor manufacturing equipment for the new Terafab project. This is a $55 billion project, so the sky is the limit for this company. And aside from all these special reports, you'll also get full 24/7 access to Jeff's members-only website. Now, that is where you can access all the issues, all the special reports, all the video updates, his model portfolio, where you can see all the current open positions. And you'll also get full support from Jeff's team. Please feel free to call or email them for any help that you may need with your membership. Just remember, they can't offer any personalized investment advice, of course. So please click the button below to get started, because
If you wait until after the IPO, it will be too late.
imagine telling your friends and family that you now own a piece of the fastest growing startup in history, a company that's projected to grow 8,000% this year. That's the opportunity that's in front of you right now. It's set to be the hottest IPO on Wall Street. And while most people will have to wait until the company goes public, you can actually get ahead of the crowd and get in today, starting with just less than $50. You do not have to wait. If you act now, when the company goes public, could be the biggest payout of your life. But it's only going to be possible if you click that button and get started. You have to make the decision to do that. Jeff, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Chris. And thanks to everyone for watching. I look forward to welcoming you to the Near Future Report. And remember, we have so much to look forward to.